I'd like to start tonight off by saying I'm clearly not Mayor Myers. He is out ill tonight, as well as our DOA. So I appreciate your patience with me as I muddle my way through this. We're going to start with some proclamations. And if I could have Dave Martin come up. I had the honor of reading Dave's proclamation yesterday. We celebrated his retirement. He has given a lot of time with the city, and I am honored to read this for you tonight. Whereas, on the occasion of the retirement of Dave Martin from the employee of the city of Fulton after a total of 23 years, 6 months, and 9 days, it is proper that the city record an expression of its appreciation of his exemplary service as an employee of the city of Fulton. And whereas Dave began his service with the city of Fulton, Missouri on July 1st, 1985 as a laborer in traffic control department, after 6 years, he transferred to the wastewater treatment department where he worked until May 1992 when he left to pursue other opportunities. And whereas Dave was rehired on January 1st, 2008 as the water department supervisor, a position he continues to hold today. Whereas he has shown unrivaled knowledge, effectively using his knowledge to tackle complex issues and improve water service. And whereas Dave's dedication and willingness to help have greatly improved the operations and performance of the water department, ensuring high quality service and safety. Now, therefore, I, Lauren Nelson, Deputy Mayor of the City of Fulton, on behalf of Steve Myers, Mayor of the City of Fulton, the City Council, and the citizens of our community, extend our sincere appreciation and heartfelt congratulations to Dave for these many years of service to our community and wish him only best in his future endeavors. Congratulations. Absolutely. This is yours, and this is yours. You are so welcome. I do have one more proclamation for SERVE. Do I have a representative? Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm honored to read this for you
Thank
tonight.
you.
Whereas hunger and poverty are of grave concern in the United States, in the state of Missouri, the county of Callaway, and the city of Fulton. Whereas food insecurity exists in our community and has increased substantially during the coronavirus pandemic. And whereas 1 in 8 Callaway County residents rely on food provided by the Serve Food Pantry each month. And whereas, along with generous community partners, funders, food donors, and volunteers, Serve Inc. is committed to providing healthy food and nutrition to those who need it most. And whereas the city of Fulton and the county of Callaway are committed to educating the community and raising awareness about food insecurity and the importance that Serve Food Pantry has on alleviating hunger in our community. And whereas the city of Fulton and the county of Callaway shall work with hunger relief organizations such as Serve to make Callaway County hunger-free by supporting access to food for our most vulnerable neighbors. And now, therefore, I, Lauren Nelson, Deputy Mayor of the City of Fulton, on behalf of Steve Myers, Mayor, the City of Fulton, the citizens, and the council, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2024 to be Hunger Action Month, and urge all citizens of Callaway County, Missouri to acknowledge this event and participate fittingly in its observance. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause to be affixed the official seal of the City of Fulton, Missouri, this 10th day of September 2024. You are so welcome. Would you like to say that?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. You know, about 20% of Callaway County suffers from food insecurity, and it's only through community members that we have an organization like Serve that was started by 9 churches that pulled together and said, alone we can't meet the needs, but when we stretch and pull our resources together, we can really make a dent in the problems that affect us. Our pantry today, I walked through it, we are very bare, and thank God for this awesome support that the community gives us this month, because we have to gear up for Christmas, and we do the Adopt a Family meals. We'll spend about $20,000 on hams and turkeys for Christmas. We usually have enough of donations to make that happen, but right now we're struggling more than we've ever struggled to keep food on the table for our members. And right now we're up to about 800 families a month, and it just keeps growing. So thank you everyone for your support. This really means a lot.
I also wanted to take just a second before we get started to welcome Charlene McCarter back to the City of Fulton as our new Parks and Rec Superintendent. There we go. So Charlene, if you want to come up and just say a few words, kind of talk to everybody for just a second.
I just want to say I'm excited to be back. I appreciate the opportunity that I've been given, and I hope to do great things for the community and for the staff. So thank you guys for the warm welcome. Appreciate it.
We're happy to have you. Thank you. Yeah, the superintendent for Parks and Rec. Yep.
Welcome. I am going to ask for any comments from visitors. You'll have 3 minutes. If you have any comments. Seeing none, we'll move on. We do have a public hearing tonight to hear the request for the proposed rezoning of a tract of land located at 1735 Business 54 South, Fulton, Missouri, from its current zoning of R1 residential to the requested zoning of C2 commercial. There will be one public hearing on this evening's agenda. The format of the hearing will be as follows. I will issue 3 calls for anyone wishing to speak in opposition, 3 calls for anyone wishing to speak in favor, and I'll ask you to come to the podium, state your name and address. The council will not be able to interact with you during the public hearing, but may choose to do so later in the meeting. This hearing is now declared open. There will be 3 calls issued for anyone wishing to speak in opposition of the matter being considered. First call, in opposition. Second call, in opposition. Third call, in opposition. There will be 3 calls issued for anyone wishing to speak in favor of the matter being considered. First call for anyone wishing to speak in favor.
My name is John Peltz, 12706 Byers Road in Grandview, Missouri. I'm put the request in for property that I own for a doctor's office that we could not take away from the neighborhood. It would be away from the single-family homes. a lot of people on some other issues in the neighborhood had discussed this, of why are we bringing this back up? And I'm looking at something that will fit the neighborhood as being a business. And, you know, if I was really wanting to irritate everybody in the neighborhood, I'd put in a break time or a 7-Eleven, but I'm not. I've got other property in the neighborhood that I have to sell. I've got 4 other single-family homes within 185 feet. So I don't want to take away, but I want to have something that I can use maybe as passive income as a doctor's office or similar office space that would bring income in for me. I don't see, I know how the area is. I built a house there in 1993, I believe. I don't know, Wash. But I've lived in the neighborhood. I don't want to take it, you know, detract from it. But I think this would be still a good fit if it was designed to be similar in structure to the homes in the neighborhood. Any questions? Okay.
Thank you. Second call for those wishing to speak in favor. Third call for those wishing to speak in favor. Seeing none, this public hearing is now closed, and we will return to our regular agenda. Moving on to the consent agenda. Could I hear a motion for approval of consent agenda?
Did we read it?
We
No, I mean,
can.
out loud?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
You gonna do it?
I can do it. City Agenda A, City Council minutes for August 27th, 2024. Agenda B, MUDBRL Raptors in the Park event, September 14th, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Agenda C, Westminster College Homecoming Parade, September 19th at 6:30 p.m. Agenda D, Central Bank Customer Appreciation Event, October 17th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. I'll second it.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second.
Just one discussion item or comment. I know we've made strides to get some of these requests in sooner. For instance, if the council were to say no, there may already be flyers out on the streets supporting these events that are on the consent agenda. So something as a council in the city, maybe we can kind of reinforce the expectation to have these requests in sooner than 1 or 2 weeks. So.
Absolutely, and whenever I get them, I send them forward as quick as I can. Generally, it's on the next agenda as fast as I can. Sometimes people are new to that and they don't know to fill them out. I feel like our first year has been successful and word's getting out. So I do think we're moving towards that.
Thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Moving on to unfinished business. We don't have any tonight. We do have new business. Representatives from the community, they are not present tonight, so we're just going to skip right over that. They were not able to make it. Moving on to council concerns. Councilman Henchy?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Public Safety Commission was held on 29 August 24, and we got quite a few things done, and it was very productive. Too many things to go over. And I have no concerns.
Thank you. Councilman West?
Evening, thank you. So the Human Rights Commission has not met since our last meeting. They will be here at our next meeting in October to present the Jane Biederman Fike Award. I want to give a shout out and some thanks to the street department. There was a hole about 6 inches in diameter at the intersection of Wood and Z that a neighbor resident in the area pointed out to me, and I went and looked at it, and it was rather deep. And the guys put a cone over it the first day, and then they got it taken care of the next day. So with all the school buses and everything else going around or going through that area, there's really a concern that it would get worse. So I appreciate them getting out there, and I expressed that to the street supervisor yesterday when I saw him as well. So kudos to the department for taking care of that. And that's all I had.
Thank you. Councilwoman Reclus is absent tonight. Councilman Stone?
Yes. The Historic Preservation Commission will meet this coming Monday, the 16th, at 1 p.m. in the Executive Conference Room. All citizens and all city employees and administration and council are invited to attend. And it will be nice because it'll be our first meeting with a full quorum with our 2 new people that we appointed at the last council meeting. And then the only other item that I have, and I failed to get this sent to anybody earlier today, but it was discovered there's some vandalism at Hockaday Park. There's some paint that's been put in the small pavilion and on some of the wood furniture and on the concrete. And I'll send a picture of that to you so that you have that. But I wanted to make someone aware of that. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Stone. Councilman Luther?
Yes, there's been no airport advisory board meeting since our last council meeting. One item, actually I already shared a picture with Daryl walking north on Business 54 sidewalk, not in the street, on the east side where the chiropractic place used to be. There were several telephone poles leading pretty good to the west. They appear to be data lines, not electric lines, but Daryl mentioned he can get a hold of AT&T or other vendors to hopefully get those corrected before they become a bigger issue. So that's all I got.
Thank you. Councilman Combs?
There we go. Now it's working. The Planning and Zoning Commission did meet, and we have the one topic we'll discuss tonight about the rezoning. Outside of that, I've been thinking a lot about a conversation we had 2 meetings ago about just public safety in terms of right-of-ways and that sort of stuff when it comes to pedestrians and people on bikes and that sort of thing. And so I don't know if there's a way to start educating as part of the Public Safety Commission, a way like who has rights, where you should park and where you shouldn't park. I know I had an officer address one of my son's friends for parking on the wrong side of the road, going the wrong way. And so I had to educate a couple of them about why you don't do that. But just general things like that, it seems like there's becoming more and more incidents that I'm becoming aware of people parking on sidewalks and just little issues like we were talking about after the meeting last time of cars almost hitting people and that sort of thing. So just more of an awareness thing at this point, trying to drive and help some of that.
Thank you, Councilman Combs. I'll get that put on our next agenda.
Thank you. Councilman Washington?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just want to mention, it was brought to my attention from one of the constituents in Ward 4 was concerned about money that's being spent. If the building of Karen, I think we have some engineering, someone is going to come and evaluate to see what needs to be done. And to my knowledge, they brought to my attention that we might already have that evaluation already done. Why are we spending more money? That was one of the concerns. And the other park board meeting, I don't think we had one at this time. So I don't have no other concern.
Thank you. The Public Utility Board has not met since our last council meeting. I would like to note that the incremental rate increase for the utility services is on for second reading tonight, and the board is in favor of that. I know that we had some members here at the last meeting. It's something that we've worked really hard on, and I feel like it's a really good plan to give our citizens something to plan for in the future, in years to come, that we know exactly what we're going to be paying potentially, and it's something that was presented by the state. We're using those state numbers on that. So just to make sure everybody knows that the board is in favor of that, and we have it on second reading tonight, and no concerns.
Mayor, I have one more thing I need to share. It was brought to my attention that Carver School, that there's some things, some wheels are turning. They're looking to start that project pretty soon. So I think in the near future, they're doing some sewer work and I think getting some things done. So things look pretty promising, and maybe this fall, some things can be taken care of.
Thank you, Councilman Washington. That's really exciting. I know that we've all really looked forward to that project. Any other concerns for tonight? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to resolutions. Councilman West, would you read resolution number 3551 for us?
All right, thank you. Resolution 3551, Stormwater Detention Project, DNR SWD Delta 158 Alpha 07 Delta 3 Charlie Alpha Foxtrot. How's that? Anyway, a resolution authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city of Fulton, Missouri to execute all necessary documents in relation to a contract with M&M Landscaping and Construction, LLC, from Eugene, Missouri, and establish an effective date. I move that resolution 3551 be approved at tonight's council meeting.
I have a motion and a second to pass resolution number 3551 at tonight's council meeting. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Moving on to resolution 3552. Councilwoman Reclus is out tonight. Councilman Combs, would you be willing to read that for us?
Yes, all right. Resolution 3552, wastewater treatment plant preliminary design build agreement. A resolution authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city of Fulton, Missouri to execute all necessary documents in relation to the city of Fulton's wastewater treatment plant preliminary design build agreement with Burns & McDonnell of Kansas City, Missouri. I make a motion to adopt resolution number 3552 at this council meeting.
I have a motion and a second to pass resolution 3552 at tonight's council meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Moving on to ordinances, we have first reading, bill number 1726, the 5th Street enactment of stop signs. Councilman Washington, could you read that for us?
Yes. Bill number 1726, Amendment 5th Street Enactment of Stop Signs. An ordinance amendment, section 110, 283, stop sign and yield signs of Fulton City Code by enacting a new stop sign and establishing an effective date. I make a motion that bill number 1726 be moved for second reading at our next regular scheduled council meeting.
Second?
Any discussion?
Yes, can we get some details on how this is different, why this is different, what new information we have from the last time this was brought to the council?
So when we were at the Public Safety Commission meeting, the councilman, Mr. Henchy, he actually asked that it be replaced on the agenda. It's the very same bill, we just brought it back. The Fulton State Hospital, Kyle spoke with them, and they would be in favor of this. And as long as the councilman wanted it back on the agenda, it's there.
The reason why we did that is so that we can discuss it and move it on to the next meeting and revise it as needed.
Great reminder, actually, Mr. Henchy. When we vote, until we go to a voice vote, we're only moving the bill forward. We're not voting on that, so.
Nothing's changed, I still don't think it's gonna do any good. I've asked do some experimentation, to try some different things and see what works. So I'm still not in favor of this.
And unfortunately, Kyle is not here tonight to answer any questions that we have, but I do appreciate that a little bit of research has been done. I know at the last time we did this reading, we didn't really know because we hadn't talked to the state hospital. So I do appreciate the fact that we have reached out to them and they are in favor. I would like to see this move on to second reading so we could do a little bit more research. Councilman West, I do agree that it would be nice to test it out if we could. And we have a little bit of time, to figure some of those details out.
How would we be able to put some temporary stops in to test it out?
The police chief can put a temporary stop in with approval of the,
Chief Ladwig, would you be willing to come up?
Or a yield sign instead of a stop sign. I guess I'm still not understanding the new information or additional information that would help us to make a different decision than what we've already made.
The stop sign for East Fifth going east into the state hospital, I believe would be a good thing for a few reasons. We get a lot of complaints of speed. That is a 20-mile-an-hour school zone. And 20 miles an hour even when school's not in session in front of MSD. We have had some accidents at that intersection because you have north and southbound traffic that are supposed to stop. People coming out of the state hospital lot do not have a stop sign. They should. It would be, maybe there is one there. No, there is a stop sign there. It's the inbound traffic. I'm sorry. It is the inbound traffic. I know we've had a resident's dog struck and killed just not too far from the entrance of the state hospital, and was off obviously in the street, not on property, but they were pretty upset. But we could sit over there and literally stop cars all day, and we do. We do make a lot of traffic stops over there. But it would stop people from going as fast, for one. I don't think it would harm the traffic flow over there at all. I think personally it is a good idea. So, my 2 cents.
One of the other,
We could probably erect a temporary stop sign there to see. We could.
could we also,
see if it really works. I mean, we put one out here for the street there, it's still the same kind of idea.
well, if
Sure.
we pass this and put a stop sign up and it doesn't work, we amend it and take it back down, right? So
If it does work, if you all in favor of that, I'd like to do that.
We have a little bit of time before the next council meeting, the second council meeting in September. We don't have that one, so we would have a little bit of time before we did second reading to see if that's something that, was beneficial there.
if I remember right, the original reason it was removed because no one had reached out to the state hospital. And that has been accomplished, and that's why it was put back on there.
And there wasn't really a whole lot of information shared about the reasoning behind needing it and wanting it and why it needed to be there.
But
Chief, would a yield sign, would that offer any benefit versus changing it?
Not
To a
when
stop
there's
sign?
a stop sign on the north and southbound traffic. I don't think a yield sign would do anything.
Okay.
It would be better if it was a stop sign. And I do believe it would slow the cars down through there. And I think it would make the residents in that 300-400 block of East Fifth feel better too.
Hey, Chief, you said there's some data. How much data do we have that will
I
share
could
with us
find
information
possibly the number of accidents the last
within
few
the
years.
Okay, within the last year or two.
And we can maybe take a look at the amount of cars that we've stopped over there as well.
I know in times past when I was working at the School for the Deaf, we really didn't have a lot of accidents right at that spot, and where you're talking about.
At the entrance to the state hospital there
right.
at State Street and East
Right.
Fifth, yeah, we have had a few.
Okay, I'm just.
Yeah,
if
I
you
mean,
have-
not,
let us know.
not a huge amount of accidents, but it is a spot where it can be a little dangerous. People don't pay attention north and southbound and will pull out in front of a car that's not doing 20, they're probably doing 30 just to get into the parking lot.
Thank you so much, Chief.
I got one question real quick. Are there signs there that tell the other ways that it's not a four-way stop?
Yeah, it says three-way stop on those other stop signs.
Okay, because, I mean, I've witnessed like just running through there, like cars coming through there pretty quickly. And that's why I'm like, if you're already acknowledging that it's a three-way stop and people aren't being cognizant, I mean, all you can do is stop. But I think that kind of goes back to my point earlier, where most of the point earlier was more around general driving etiquette and dealing with pedestrians. It does seem like there's an increase of people not really abiding by laws, enough to where I've had kids tell me they're not going to get pulled over because we don't write tickets.
Oh, we do.
I know we do, but that's the general belief of some of the public, and so is it, it doesn't matter.
I think a good example of this being a four-way stop would be Ewing and 12th on the William Woods campus. That used to be just a two-way stop. The east and west traffic on 12th Street did not have to stop. A few years ago, we made that a four-way stop, and I don't really think we've had many issues there since. There's a lot of pedestrian traffic over there, too. You have school traffic.
They added that extra dormitory over there.
And there are a lot of state employees that walk off campus to use tobacco products, and I see a lot on the west corner, or southwest corner of Fifth and State. So there's a lot of pedestrian traffic over there too, just like at William Woods. I think that is probably the best comparison I can make for an intersection, but I think that stop sign there for the eastbound traffic before they enter onto the state hospital property will slow them down and make that intersection a lot safer for motorists and pedestrians.
Animals.
And animals.
I just think it's gonna back traffic up and it's not really gonna solve the problem. But I would like to see a temporary one put in there just to see and get some data and see how it affects the situation. I think there's other solutions to this problem.
There's other entrances into the state hospital, either from Hillcrest and 6th, and from the south from State Street. I don't foresee it creating a huge backup, but I think the citizens would feel better, though, just getting them to slow down when they travel east on the street.
And there could always be signs put on the ones on, is that Fifth? No. What's it?
State Street going north and south.
State Street that say, cross traffic does not stop, you know, because you talked about somebody pulling out thinking somebody's gonna stop and they don't. Even at stop signs, I don't go until I'm sure somebody's really stopping, you know.
Well, the information you've shared tonight, Chief, is more than we had before, so
Okay.
thank you.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
If I can add, all I can tell you is when we received the suggestion, it was from a citizen and given to Kyle, and then it was taken to the Public Safety Commission, who reviewed it, and they discussed it, and that's why it was brought before you.
All right, thank you for that, Chief. We do have a motion and a second to move this on to second reading at the next council meeting. We do have a second? We do not have a second. Oh, I'm looking for a second on this.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Councilman Hinchy seconded it earlier.
Okay, I thought we had one. All those in favor of moving this on to second reading at the next meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Okay, that does move on to second reading at the next meeting. Moving on, we have Bill number 1727. Councilman West, would you be willing to read that for me?
Sure. Okay, bill number 1727, ordinance number blank, rezoning 1735 Business 54 South. An ordinance reclassifying under the zoning code attractive land located at 1735 Business 54 South in Fulton, Missouri, and establishing an effective date. I move that bill number 1727 be moved for second reading at the next regularly scheduled council meeting.
Second?
Seeing a motion and a second, is there any discussion?
Yes. Can someone describe to me the properties around this property and what their current zoning is?
There's C2 as well. There's a house on the one right next to it and in front of it, and the other one is the Realtor office. It's a C2 as well,
Okay.
my understanding.
But the house sits on C2,
Yes.
and then I'm assuming the church there to the northwest.
I don't know about the
Is
church on
C2.
King.
And Abbott Realty is also there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wish I
Abbott
knew the
Realty to
zonings,
the-
I don't know them off the
The
top of my
church
head.
is probably residential, but I don't know.
And Kyle will be back later this week too, so if y'all have any questions, he'll be happy to help.
Okay. I mean, that's my major question before moving it forward is what's the zoning around it?
What's the zoning around it?
it?
Do you know
The-
what the
the-
other area,
John, the properties immediately around it, what are they zoned?
Abbott's is C2.
Mm-hmm.
The house right across from the cemetery entrance, that used to be owned by, I can't think
Kettle.
of his name right now, but he had the cemetery and he
Mhm.
worked out of his house. That is C2.
Okay,
Uh,
the home is C2?
The home is C2. The property north is R1. That's the 4 lots that I own.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the church is classified. It's got their own, I think, for
Okay.
churches.
It's probably R1, but I'm guessing.
Yeah, everything over there on that side of the road other than Abbott's is R1. I pulled the map up.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
No.
so the home is R1, that's right beside it.
Yes. Everything in there on that side of the road is R1 other than Abbott's. On the other side, just south of the cemetery is C2, but north of the cemetery is still,
So
it is
that,
agriculture.
so that home is not R, or is
The
not
home
C2?
should be R2.
It's not showing,
Okay.
Because I checked on it.
yeah, it's not showing anything over there as
Okay.
R2. I mean, there is some R2 over there, but not right adjacent to this property.
R2 or C2?
Should be
C2.
Okay.
C2, there's just the Abbott area. Yeah, I mean, that home could be right adjacent to it. I can't see that incredibly well, but
Yeah.
it's pretty much all it's showing is that property is C2.
Okay.
Churches can be in R1.
Yeah. And the minutes from the planning and zoning, John pointed out that he didn't have access to put a driveway on, Business 54, and I asked you about that, and John, you told me that it's because it's at the crest of the hill, and,
The speed.
yeah.
They
the
they
speed.
want to put another one in there. It had to be so far apart
Yeah.
for it. And I do have deeded access on my 4 lots just north of that house. It's Willow Wind.
Yeah,
and,
Kingswood.
You know, which they could come in that way if I finish it out.
Yeah.
I'd sell my lots a lot quicker. But
Understood
anyway,
that.
that,
Yeah.
Okay,
I
thank you,
mean,
John.
I was a little
That's-
concerned about the traffic on Kingswood, but there's already a church there. There's not but a couple houses in that area, so I don't think it'd be that big a deal.
yeah, and basically what I was looking at was something like Bassinet's office or, you know.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
We do have a motion and a second to move this on to second reading at the next council meeting. All those in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, say no. Passes to second reading. Moving on to second reading, Bill number 1723, amended, parking on Westminster Avenue, prohibited or limited. Councilman Stone, could you read that for us?
Yes, Madam Deputy Mayor. Bill number 1723, amended, parking on Westminster Avenue prohibited or limited, An ordinance amending Chapter 110 Traffic and Vehicles, Section 110-340, parking on certain streets prohibited of limited. Should that be of limited or limited? Okay. Fulton City Code by prohibiting stopping, standing, and parking on portions of Westminster Avenue and establishing an effective date. I make a motion to move 1723 for third reading at tonight's meeting.
Seeing a motion and a second, I'll entertain any questions. Any discussion?
Yes, I do. We're on Westminster Avenue that they're looking to prohibit not stopping and standing and parking on a portion of Westminster Avenue. What area is that? Where is that located?
I believe at the last council meeting, we were talking about those flashing beacons at the crosswalks on the, I'm really bad at directions, so I'm going to say on the north side of Westminster, there in front of the Circle Drive.
Okay, gotcha.
And then also on the south side in front of the church, they're just north of the church.
And
This
I
is
have a
all
question.
in preparation to support the flashing crosswalks, right? The equipment needed for that, so.
And I have a question. The motion was made to be approved at tonight's meeting. Wouldn't it be better for the next scheduled meeting?
Forward instead of reading it tonight, we can.
You know, yeah, I think either is appropriate.
Okay.
Councilman Stone, what would you like to do?
I motion to do it at tonight's meeting.
I like it. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of third reading at tonight's meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. If you could read that a third time.
Bill number 1723 amended, parking on Westminster Avenue prohibited or limited. An ordinance amending Chapter 110 Traffic and Vehicles, Section 110-340, parking on certain streets prohibited of limited. Fulton City Code by prohibiting stopping, standing, and parking on portions of Westminster Avenue and establishing an effective date. I make a motion to move Bill number 1723 for final passage at tonight's meeting.
We have a motion and a second for final passage at tonight's meeting. You've heard the bill read 3 times. Bill number 1723, amended parking on Westminster Avenue. Madam Clerk, could you do roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Luther?
Yes.
Ms. Nelson?
Yes.
Ms. Reclue? Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Washington?
No.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Hingy?
Yes.
6 council members affirmative, 1 opposed.
Bill number 1723 passes. Bill number 1724, crosswalk and traffic signal protection contract with Meyer Electric. Councilman Luther?
Yeah, bill number 1724, crosswalk and traffic signal project contract with Meyer Electric. An ordinance authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city of Fulton, Missouri to execute all necessary documents in relation to a contract with Meyer Electric upon approval from the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission Transportation Alternatives Program Agreement regarding federal project, TAP 2700, quotation 511, and establishing an effective date. I make a motion to place bill number 1724 for third reading at this council meeting.
Second?
We have a motion and a second for third reading at tonight's meeting. Any discussion? Seeing none, you've heard the bill number 1724, read 3 times. Madam Clerk, could you do roll call? Oh, I'm so sorry. We've heard it twice. Councilman Luther, would you be willing to read that a third time?
I would love to, thank you.
We have to vote.
Oh, yeah, vote first time.
Muddling my way through this. Thank you for keeping me in line, council. You've heard this read twice. Could I get a motion? I'm so sorry.
All in favor?
All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, nay.
Oh, sorry. Now I got myself
Now,
mixed up.
Councilman Luther, would you please read that a third time?
Of course, thank you. Bill number 1724, crosswalk and traffic signal project contract with Meyer Electric, an ordinance authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city of Fulton, Missouri to execute all necessary documents in relation to a contract with Meyer Electric upon approval from the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission Transportation Alternatives Program Agreement regarding federal project number TAP-2700, parentheses 511, and establishing an effective date. I make a motion to place bill number 1724 for final passage at this council meeting.
We have a motion and a second. We have now heard that bill number 1724 read 3 times. Madam Clerk, would you do roll call, please?
We have to do
All in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say nay. Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Stone? I'm sorry,
Yes.
there we go. Mr. Washington?
Yes.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Hingy?
Yes.
Mr. Luther?
Yes.
Thank you.
7 council members affirmative.
Clearly, I really wanted 1724 just to move right along here. Bill number 1725, annual incremental rate increase for utility services. Councilman Hinchy, would you be willing to read that for me?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Bill number 1725, annual incremental rate increase for utility services, amended. An ordinance establishing an annual incremental rate increases for City of Fulton utility services based on Customer Price Index, CPI. I make a motion to place this bill for the third reading at this council meeting.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to move this on to third reading at tonight's meeting. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, go
Couple,
ahead.
go ahead.
Nope, go ahead.
Couple of items. One, I want to thank the amendments that were placed, putting the dates of when we would be looking at the CPI. It shows that we're going to look at the July, August CPI reports, and then a rate will be brought to the council for approval. It says no later than October of each year. I'm assuming that takes, is that an ordinance, Madam Clerk, or is that a resolution?
No, this is part of this, but what we'll do is every year, I see what you're saying. We'll probably do that by resolution, just
Okay.
to review it, just to approve it before that we get ready to hit the budget.
Okay, I just knew we didn't have 3 times between now and October for this year's rate increase, so that's why I asked.
Well, this won't go into effect until next year, so that wouldn't count until next October.
Well, October,
Because you guys are approving the incremental rate increases with this included. It may be
Okay.
on October. We might surprise you.
yeah.
Okay.
That's a really good point. I see where you're coming from. on
I
that. So-
understood we were passing the concept, and then we would follow the steps within the ordinance,
Gotcha.
starting now.
That would be a great
I mean, if we have an
question for
effective date.
Director Doyle, so, at this point,
The
and if
numbers
so,
are on
it'll
the
be in
back.
October.
Right, we just need to know when the effective date of this would be, to know
Yes.
whether or not we're going to need it brought to us by resolution in October to
Sound-
pass.
Sounds good?
There's also 2 areas, there's 2 items. It's in the title, and then it's in section 1, and then again in section 2, and it's again about the 5%. If we can just make sure that the verbiage is read through, it's not quite clear, completely, utterly, absolutely clear, that it's the CPI that has the maximum of 5%, and then we're adding the incremental on top of that. Some of these read as if the 2 combined have a maximum of 5%, and I know that's not the intent. So I don't necessarily have any suggested wording tonight, but it just does not quite read 100% clear how we're doing the math.
So Councilman Stone, with some of this feedback, do we want to look
So-
at moving on to third reading?
Yes, I was just going to make
At the
that
next
suggestion.
meeting?
I would like to amend my, my amendment, or
Your motion.
motion to third reading at the next regularly scheduled council, and the person who seconded that to second that with me.
I'll second that. amend motion.
Okay. May I? Okay, so I thought it was clear, and I think the numbers are on the next page, so I think it'll be here. That's on the back of this, so I think that was the intent here, as Kathy's pointed out. My question is, section 4 doesn't really seem to be needed anymore, because it says we will review and approve the rate increases biennially, which is every 2 years, following the recommendation of the Public Utility Board. Well, section 2 already has us looking at it every October, so I don't think section 4 is needed anymore. Maybe I'm not reading that right, but
That biannual was for something the U board came up with, where we go back and we refigure that incremental, where it says like 1.17 and 0.73, in case there's been some debt either added or subtracted, to refigure those numbers every 2 years.
okay.
That's don't have anything to do with the CPI. They figure that every year for us, but
Yeah,
to go back and make sure that the reserve portion of that is recalculated and stays on track.
but section 2 says the increases shall be calculated based on the percentage change that we will approve no later than October each year, with implementation on January 1st, starting January 1st, 2025. Section 4 says that we'll approve the rate increases biennially, but I don't know, I still think that conflicts, but take a look at that.
Well, okay, that was the intent, if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor.
And that's just to hold everybody accountable, for our citizens, that we're looking at all the numbers each year. But I do understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
Councilman West,
It
on
just
that.
seems like to me, it
Yeah.
conflicts, but I
Yeah.
could be wrong, but.
We can take a look at that again, just to be sure.
I'll look at it closer. So if we wait till October the 9th to,
October 8th.
okay, October the 8th to approve this, is that gonna be a problem for this year's budget? Dustin? I don't think it would, but I'm just asking.
No, I think we're planning to have that presented in November, so we should have time to do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. All right, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Councilman West, just, yeah, I agree with you on that language. I was kind of confused as well. And just for especially something that's hopefully going to last long past when we're long and gone, right? That hopefully anyone that picks this up after we're not here can have nice, clear guidance on what the standard is, so.
And I think I do understand the difference between section 2 and section 4. Section 4 is the every other year the U board will look at that incremental amount. But then section 2 is saying that every year we will look at what that CPI is, plus the incremental amount
Yes,
that's how,
I agree with
is
that. Yes.
I think
but-
that's how we're looking at this every year, but it's, the years in between is, we're looking at the CPI and what rate that creates. But
The
then-
CPI that's set by the state, we use those guidelines for that increase, but the incremental increase is something that we have, formulated a chart to try to build up those reserve funds. So again, that 2-year, looking at that every 2 years is just holding us as a council and the U board accountable for our citizens to make sure that we're making the best decisions and not increasing too much or not enough based off of those numbers. I agree, though. Maybe clean that language up just a little to define those two different percentages.
And I agree with Councilman Stone. I appreciate the work that's been done on this, between last meeting and this meeting, so I just want to make sure everything's good.
As you're reading it or think about it, send me a message and we'll see if we can't work that around. Because sometimes my mind is spinning on this one too.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to move bill number 1725 for third reading at the next council meeting. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, nay. Moves on to third reading.
I was a little delayed in looking it up, but it looks like the August CPI is being reported at like 2.6.
Thank you. Okay, we have one third reading tonight, Bill number 1722, Willow Creek South Plot 1. Councilman Henchy, would you be willing to read that one as well?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Bill number 1722, Willow Creek South Plat 1, final. An ordinance authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city of Fulton, Missouri to approve the final plat for Willow Creek South Plat 1. I make a motion to place bill number 1722 for final passages at this council meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
So I just wanted to bring up, I know 2 meetings ago, the map that we saw didn't have the actual street widths on them. I talked to Kyle afterwards, and I know some of you guys were here around with that. Our ordinance say that the street names and widths have to be listed on that final plat. And from my understanding, you guys didn't get an updated one last meeting that I missed. And so I don't know if we want to pass without seeing that. I wouldn't say that they're going to make the roads smaller or wider than they have to. And I would assume Kyle would have gotten a corrected one for documentation. But I just wanted to point that out because I know there's been things like that have happened in the past that haven't been followed through on.
I got the Reader's Digest version of that, if I could, really quick. I did text Courtney because I wanted to answer Mr. Combs' question, and Kyle's on at a conference. But she said you still may need to get the final copy from Kyle ahead of the signatures, but he did indicate that everything was good to go. And I know they were watching that very close.
If I may, I believe what they have added, if you look at plot 72 on the map, just above that, there is some really tiny writing that will blow up. And it does say 30 feet of pavement.
It was just the ordinance that had that street name with,
Right.
with the street width listed together.
I see that, it's on there. Ames Way and King, I can't call it that, it's always
And then Aiden's Way looks like it's gonna be 20 foot, because it's got 10 foot on each side. But the-
Large maps that you can read in my office if anybody wants to see them.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we've heard bill number 1722 presented 3 times. Madam Clerk, could you do roll call?
We have to vote.
All in favor?
Oh, all in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Opposed? No? I really want this to pass, I guess. I'm really struggling here. Could you do roll call, Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Clue, Mr. Stone,
Yes.
Mr. Washington, Mr. West,
yes.
Mr. Combs,
Yes.
Mr. Hingy,
Yes.
Mr. Luther,
Yes.
Ms. Nelson,
Yes.
7 council members affirmative.
Bill number 1722 passes. I thank everybody tonight. I know that I had a few hiccups, but I appreciate your patience with me. Thank you so much. We do have a couple of announcements. The next council meeting will be held Tuesday, October 8th at 6:30. I want to make sure to note that that is one council meeting that we do not have this month. So the next one will be October 8th at 6:30. We do have fall cleanup week starting the week of October 7th. I know that we have a lot of residents that participate in that, a lot of people that drive around. It's really good. I am always super excited to see how many pounds of trash are collected. So fall cleanup starts October 7th. We also have the tire collection, I believe is the 26th, is 28th? Okay.
September 20th.
September 28th, we have the tire collection that the city is hosting. I'd like to note household hazardous waste and e-waste collection
Same day.
are the same day, October 7th or the 20?
It's the end of fall cleanup week.
Okay, end of fall cleanup. And any information that you need, please feel free to reach out to our solid waste department. That phone number is 573-592-3176 with any questions you might have. I know they'll be happy to help you with anything. Any other?
Yes, I have two announcements. Reminder of everyone, to everyone, the Kingdom Pilots Association fly-in is on September 21st at the airport from 7 to 11 a.m. Pancakes, sausage, that sort of thing. Also, there's a shameless plug, St. Peter's Fall Festival is the next day on September the 22nd. So come out and have some fried chicken and ham, all you can eat, silent auctions, games, all that kind of stuff. So, and a live auction that I will not be at, but that's okay. Anyway.
I know the classes are doing baskets and they're really, really good.
Yes, and they are excited about that. The elementary school are really getting into it. So come out for a good meal.
And the
some
Mayor's
fun.
Cup is the Friday, September 20th, before all that fun weekend, and I believe Parks and Rec is still taking teams.
Yes.
Still taking teams for Mayor's Cup. Fantastic, which is the 20th.
Mr. West, you said it's all you can eat,
Yes.
the chicken too?
Fried chicken and ham, yes, sir.
Come and visit me in the fry shed.
Yeah. He may even put you to work if you're out there at the wrong time.
Any other announcements?
Also, one more to add is, so this is on September 22nd as well. Looks like at 1400, 2 p.m. The We Built will be having an open house there on Manor Drive. So if you're interested in what's going on with that project, please feel free to stop by and check it out.
Okay, good.
And I would like to also put one more plug in too for Serve. We are in dire need of food, especially protein. If anybody can see it, to get food to the pantry for especially protein, such as even canned meats or anything, it's needed because we cannot support all the people that need it.
Yes. Thank you.
And there is no need for executive session tonight, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move for adjournment.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, nay?
I'm not even going to wait for all that one.